Smack Wood in that puzzle. Big shout out to SPR, Spotter Lope. You know I'm in the black box. Had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned. All that.
Jeter, gratitude is the attitude. Show is a blessing to be back in the black box as we blow a secession on my mama. I'm confused. Now, I think I'm back going live and just trying to record. I don't know if I'm going live or if I'm recording. Yeah. So I'm just going to keep recording as if I figured out later. I think my last video is under the same circumstances. I'm still figuring out this new software. Not new technology. It's new technology to me, but basically it's new software. But no further ado, this time, we finna see what respectable rants claims Pooh Shiesty has been up to. Everybody know the Gucci Man Pooh Shiesty story is the biggest story in hip-hop culture currently. And I kind of like the work Respectable Rats does. So I think it'd be interesting just to see the way he compiled the content for an update. So, yeah, let's get it, my good peoples. But no further ado, let's see it. With Gucci, Pooh Shiesty in there. I've been up to. Well, I can't be said, but not available while I'm sharing radio. Which one is available there? I gotta be this one. Okay. How about this one? Yeah, let me be the bigger one. Now we're going like this. That's cool. Yeah, look what the better.
You know what's going on with me? Yeah, I ain't gonna tell nobody, not even the police. I don't believe in none of that shit. The only thing I believe in is don't tell the police. Soft ass nigga. It's the only thing I believe in. I'ma smoke you.
9 suspects involved in the robbery and kidnapping of rapper Gucci Mane have been arrested. Officials say the alleged ringleader behind the attack was rapper Pooh Shiesty.
You feel like it was a setup because cats came like after you, like they was coming to get you. Yeah, I think it was a setup. And too many people got the motive to do some shit like that. I just like a detective. You already know some look at the motive, who has motive to do it. And this dog nigga has motive.
Federal authorities say Shiesty was the ringleader behind the attack on Gucci Mane. DOJ says Gucci Mane and 2 others were allegedly kidnapped and robbed at gunpoint. They say 9 people were involved, including Pooh Shiesty's father and Big 30.
In today's video, we're going to be breaking down Pooh Shiesty's indictment, and we're going to be covering how him and 8 others would be charged with kidnapping and robbing Gucci Mane. Let's dive right into it. This situation took place on January 10th of 2026 at approximately 4:50 at night. Pooh Shiesty, Pooh Shiesty's father, Big 30, and 6 others would be accused of holding Gucci Mane at gunpoint and holding him hostage in the studio. They would hold Gucci Mane at gunpoint with an AK-47 and make him release Pooh Shiesty from his contract. And on top of that, it's alleged they would rob him and 2 other people that were in the studio. This kidnapping and robbery took place in Dallas, Texas. And in the paperwork, they refer to Gucci Mane as RD, which would be his initials. And they would say that Gucci Mane and a few others flew into Dallas that day at around 1 o'clock in the afternoon to do a business meeting with Pooh Shiesty. And they would say that Pooh Shiesty was upset with his terms of the contract and he wanted to be released from Gucci Mane. And they were scheduled to meet at a studio, but Gucci Mane arrived at that studio around 1:45 in the afternoon.
This do not sound like no 2026 activity where everybody is suing everybody, lawsuits running rampant. This nigga took it back old school from GANGSTA. Oh my mama.
And he would notice that the studio was closed. And that's when Gucci and his crew would go to a nearby liquor store and they would buy liquor in red Solo cups. But around 3:15 in the afternoon is when the studio would open. And that's when Gucci and the rest of the crew would go inside of the studio and wait for Pooh Shiesty and them. And at 3:39 in the afternoon, Pooh Shiesty and his father would arrive first. However, when they first arrived, they would sit outside on the phone while speaking with somebody. And an employee from the studio would tell detectives that he overheard them arguing with somebody on the phone. But 4 minutes later, at 3:43 in the afternoon, surveillance video would catch Pooh Shiesty and his crew entering the studio. Pooh Shiesty's crew would then enter the control room where Gucci and his crew was at, and Gucci and them was watching a football game. One of Gucci's bodyguards was in the studio lobby, while the other remained in the vehicle. Pooh Shiesty and his crew then sat down with Gucci and his crew, and they continued to watch the football game. However, the victims would tell detectives that while they were sitting, Pooh Shiesty was talking on the phone with what appeared to be a PO, and they would overhear him say that the caseworker gave him permission to be out for rec time. However, the victims would say that the person that Pooh Shiesty was talking to informed him that was not the case, and he had to return immediately. Pooh Shiesty was wearing an ankle monitor at that time, and he was on house arrest. Shortly after that conversation, Gucci would tell Pooh Shiesty that they could reschedule their studio session if he wanted. Pooh Shiesty then asked Gucci if he can speak to him.
Them little details was going to tell them people in that court building, this dude just can't get right. Even under those conditions, he was still behaving in such a fashion. And his daddy didn't throw him under the bus, I believe. I want to see if that's included.
Private, and that's when Gucci would agree, and Pooh Shiesty's father, and Big 30 would go into a different room to speak in private. The 2 people that was with Gucci and the 6 other people that was with Pooh Shiesty would stay in the control room and drink liquor together. And while Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane were talking, Pooh Shiesty ended up pulling out a contract termination form. He would ask Gucci to sign it, and Gucci would say no. And that's when Pooh Shiesty and Gucci started to argue. And even though they were speaking in private, the room would have a window in it. And the 2 people that was with Gucci would see that the conversation was getting heated. And that's when one of them would text Gucci Mane's bodyguard. And it's alleged as the argument was getting worse, Pooh Shiesty would tell Big 30 to go get his bag. Big 30 complied, and he went and grabbed the bag. And when he came back into the room, he handed it to Pooh Shiesty, and Pooh Shiesty pulled out an AK-47. Big 30 and Pooh Shiesty's father would then block the door.
I've been in a situation where I was having a conversation about some rap money compensation that did not make it to its destination. And my brother, Big Spider, was close in the vicinity. But before I knew it, he had pulled out, and the situation escalated and went crazy. Oh, my mama, but it was not a plan. Facts.
And Pooh Shiesty would demand that Gucci Mane sign the contract, and that's when Gucci did. And they would say that Gucci Mane was held at gunpoint by Pooh Shiesty the whole time. And it's alleged as Gucci was signing the paperwork, Big 30 pulled out his cell phone and recorded him signing it, and they forced him to say released. And after Gucci was done signing the paperwork, Pooh Shiesty would have his father overlook it. And Pooh Shiesty's father said it needed to be dated, so he would make Gucci put a date on the side of his name. And as they exited the private room and went back into the studio room that everybody was in, it's alleged that the remaining group of 6 that
the most dangerous cold part about this is a police officer after 5 years on the force is considered as an expert witness. And from my over understanding, these dudes, wow, some police officers. Well, that's probably the worst element of their case, if that's true.
was with Pooh Shiesty would pull out guns and AK-47s and rob the other 2 people that was with Gucci. And one of the victims that was with Gucci would say that they checked his pockets, stole his wallet, and snatched his 1017 chain. And the other victim that was with Gucci said that he was held at gunpoint and he was choked. And he said that he was robbed for the Rolex that he was wearing in a Louis Vuitton backpack that had multiple high-end watches in it. And he would say that they even took his AirPods and his wallet. And he would tell
Guys look like that might be the undercover off-duty. That's a white boy. Oh, yeah, in trouble. You might as well just to yourself.
detectives that his Louis Vuitton backpack, AirPods, and wallet all had an air tag and was being tracked. And as you can see at the bottom, he later told law enforcement that he's able to identify the robbers through their Instagram handle. And don't forget, during the argument with Gucci and Pooh Shiesty, one of the victims that was with Gucci texted a security guard saying it was hostile. And they would say that as the robbery happened, Big 30 walked over to the studio door that led to the lobby, and he would close it and block it with his body to prevent them from leaving. Both the Gucci security guards seen Big 30 close the door, and they would run up to the door and try to push their way into it. They would then both pull out firearms, and they would manage to partially open the door. And when they looked in the room, they would notice that they were outnumbered with guns and people. One of the victims would say that Pooh Shiesty pointed the AK-47 barrel to the back of his head and ordered him, Gucci, and the rest of the people to leave. And they would say that Pooh Shiesty and his crew left at around 4:48 at night. So this whole situation happened within an hour. And this right here would be Gucci's ring. That's estimated to be worth around $120,000, with a 4-carat diamond in the center and 2 carats on each side. And they didn't specify what earrings or watch that he took. But on surveillance video, they would notice that one of the suspects in Pooh Shiesty's group had the Louis Vuitton backpack on his back that was just stolen. And they would also see 3 vehicles leaving the crime scene: a Buick Enclave, a Hellcat, and a TRX. And even though the witnesses and victims gave statements, there wouldn't be any arrest right away. But less than 24 hours after the situation, one of Pooh Shiesty's co-defendants would post a story on his Instagram where he was flexing money in one of the Rolexes that he robbed from the dude.
You got to be kidding me. You got kidding me. No, he didn't. He didn't do this. He didn't. In my mind, this part didn't happen. God damn.
And he posted this at 9:13 in the morning, where he would tag his location, Dallas, Texas. And he even posted the Rolex card with his serial number, making it easy to track. And later on that day, at around 6:12 at night, Another co-defendant of Pooh Shiesty's would post some evidence. And as you can see, he would be flexing a Rolex watch, a blue and black one that they would call the Batman. And they would have a screenshot from January 19th of one of Pooh Shiesty's co-defendants wearing the 1017 chain that he stole. It would take about 4 months for them to be arrested, but on April 2nd of 2026, they would announce an indictment for Pooh Shiesty and his crew. And like we said for Pooh Shiesty, eyewitness accounts would say that he brought Gucci into the studio and demanded that he sign the release contract at gunpoint before taking his wedding ring, watch, earrings, and cash. And them same witnesses would say that Pooh Shiesty was in the room when the additional kidnapping and robberies happened of the other 2 victims that was with Gucci. And they would say that cell phone records, electronic location monitoring, and surveillance footage placed Pooh Shiesty at the scene. And Pooh Shiesty was just released in October of 2025 after doing 3 years for his last Fed bid. And that was just 3 months before the situation with Gucci and 6 months before he got indicted for this case. But that right there is going to wrap it up for the story of Pooh Shiesty, and I appreciate you guys for tuning in.
Respectable Rants. Yeah, that's some channel that is we just reacted to. Go over there and follow up. Yeah, as soon as you think we've heard and seen the most goofiest, ridiculous shit that we ever seen, somebody outdoes it. I guess it's just the way of the world. Things get bigger, things get better, and those that are not good get worse. Yeah, but Shiesty, if you was counting on Gucci Man, the white boys, or whoever was with him to keep it G, for this play to be the right move, you obviously miscalculated, brother.
Snake Little Nip Hustle. Big shout out to SPR, Spotter Low. I'm in the black box. Had to come through, tap in, show love one time. Yeah, y'all make sure y'all subscribe. Stay tuned. All that.